So Dave Weigel put out a piece in the Washington Post, and I want to go through it because it shows you the sickness that exists within some members of the DNC and of, voting members of the Democratic Party as a whole. So Selina Vickers is a progressive activist. She's a Bernie supporter, a Jill Stein voter from West Virginia. Now, what's so special about Selina Vickers? Why am I talking about her? Well, according to a DNC member, she's a Russian plant. Here's the headline. Bernie Sanders supporter attends every DNC rule change meeting. DNC member calls her a Russian plant. The DNC's current argument over how to reform its primaries achieved a special kind of absurdity on Monday when longtime DNC member Bob Mulholland asked whether Vickers' appearance at meetings were paid for by Russians. Mulholland, who often CCs reporters on his memos about the rules debate, speculated over the weekend that someone is picking up her expenses, and that this was evidence that the Putin operation is still active. But, of course, Mulholland conceded that he had no proof that Vickers was being funded by foreign operatives. Vickers shared her receipts with the Post. According to Mulholland, he noticed Vickers, who was neither a journalist nor a party official, and learned from her that she backed Jill Stein's Green Party presidential bid in 2016. Now, I want you to understand something. Vickers voted for Jill Stein in a safe red state, West Virginia. And she voted for them because she wanted the Mountain Party, which is the local Green Party affiliate, to keep their ballot access. So there are a lot of people, even progressives, want to criticize Jill Stein voters. But it's hard to criticize Vickers here. Here's somebody who Hillary clearly was not going to win West Virginia. So she wanted to vote for the Green Party to allow them to continue to have ballot access. This is a strategic vote. This is a smart vote if you are a progressive that wants some voice in West Virginia. So instead of wasting her vote for Hillary Clinton, who was definitely going to lose West Virginia, she put it towards the Green Party. I think that's fine. Now, so Vickers is clearly a very vocal progressive, but why was she at all of these DNC meetings? Let me tell you. At DNC meetings, Vickers represented a vocal and frustrated minority of Democratic activists who remained outraged that the Democratic Party has so many elected superdelegates, and that in 2016, those superdelegates frequently voted en masse for Hillary Clinton in states where voters had backed Sanders. After the party created a Unity Reform Commission to revisit its primary issue, Vickers attended 3 of its meetings and all but 1 Rules and Bylaws meeting. Sometimes, as rows of chairs for observers sat empty, she had the committee members to herself. Quote, I get frustrated with some DNC members, and sometimes I think they really miss the mark on things, but I appreciate being able to talk to them in person. It has helped me personally. I was so frustrated with the superdelegate issue after the convention. Being able to go to the meetings and live streaming them for others that can't attend and talking to members about my concerns gives me a way to do something, rather than be at home, disconnected and powerless. I feel that my presence has a positive effect. So, here is a citizen, Selina Vickers, who is actually engaged in the political process, is involved enough that she is going to these DNC meetings. And what happens? She gets smeared by DNC member Bob Mulholland as a Russian bot, as a Putin puppet. Really? So, here's a quote from Mulholland. Told about Vickers' project and her budget-conscious effort to go to every meeting, Mulholland had more questions. That convinces me that somebody's picking up her tab, he said. Look, I worked for Tom Hayden and Jane Fonda for 15 years, and in 1977, we got 18,000 pages from the FBI through the Freedom of Information Act, and a lot of people who worked for the anti-war movement were working for the FBI. So I'm always skeptical of these people whose agenda is not in the Democratic Party's interest. Not in the Democratic Party's interest? Because of people like Bob Mulholland, they lost the election to a clown. They put up the second most hated politician in the country, Hillary Clinton, and she lost to Donald Trump. And that's because of people like Bob Mulholland having more influence on the primaries than the average person. So Selina Vickers is not only fighting for the Democratic Party's best interest, She is fighting for voters' best interests. Superdelegates are not a democratic process. These are people that have more power in each state than the average voter. That is not democratic. That is giving people, that is saying that, oh, if you are part of the establishment, then you know better than the rest of us. Clearly, you don't. You lost. Now, here are Vickers' words for Mulholland. I'm going to keep showing up as long as I can afford to do so, Vickers said. I wish Mr. Mulholland the very best, and I hope he can find some peace. Look at that. All heart. Selina Vickers, in the face of being called a Russian bot and a Putin puppet by Bob Mulholland, she stayed defiant and composed, focused on the issues that she cares about, instead of getting caught up in this name-calling game. So, who looks stupid now? Bob Mulholland does. So, look, I believe that Bob Mulholland really believes that Vickers is a Putin puppet. People like this actually exist. They're caught up in the hysteria. And it's unfortunate because it just makes them look really, really fucking stupid. It makes them look sad and old and like they need some help. So, you know what? I'm with Vickers here. I hope Mr. Mulholland finds some peace because it looks like he needs it. Hey, if you like this video, hit that subscribe button below and consider throwing me a few bucks on Patreon at patreon.com/therationalnational or therationalnational.com/join.